So, here to talk about that game and kind of give us a preview and give us a little bit of insight into how things are going in Pittsburgh, it's our guy from Locked On Steelers, Chris Carter. What is happening today?
What's going on, Tenitra? Glad to be here with the day ones. Appreciate you could bring me on the show.
Absolutely appreciate you as well. And listen, if you see a super duper smile on my face, it is because I am a Steelers fan. So I am super excited. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I'm so like, listen, for work purposes, I don't have my terrible towel in this room. It has its own shrine in the other room. So listen, when I am in the media room or the press box this coming Sunday, I'm going to literally have to put my hands under. I'm going to sit on my hands. I'm going to have to close my eyes or close my mouth and just look straight ahead. It's going to be, good stuff. But also, having covered the Falcons, I know that this is a very critical game for the Falcons as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see because I don't know about you, Chris, but having your bird's eye view in Pittsburgh, I feel like there are still some positive things and some trending up type of things that are happening and churning with the Steelers.
Absolutely. The run game has been improving, especially since the bye week. Even the week before the bye week, when they got slaughtered by the Eagles, the run game
Yeah.
was moving the ball, and they've been averaging over 150 yards on the ground per game the last 4 games. That's a lot of improvement considering they've been terrible running the ball since 2018. So really good steps there. The defense, despite TJ Watt not being his best yet, they're stuffing the run well. You're seeing them play well. And Kenny Pickett is slowly but steadily climbing his way up the NFL. He called one of the plays that got a touchdown for the Steelers. In fact, the game-winning touchdown, it turned out to be against the Colts. They like his development. This isn't the year for the Steelers. We all knew that would be the case. They needed to see development, but the good thing is for them, long-term, they're seeing it.
Yeah. And I love what you're saying there, Chris, because whether if you're Steelers Nation or even if you're just looking at it at a macrocosmic view across the NFL, this was the one team where everybody said, oh yeah, we're giving Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers a bye because we know that, we'll start off with Mitchell Trubisky, but eventually we know that they want to move to Kenny Pickett, and we need the opportunity. That guy needs an opportunity to show what he can do. So, I've actually been pleasantly surprised. I thought he was going to be good, but still pleasantly surprised that he's actually delivering. And like you said, the example that you just gave was not just about, actually executing, but that speaks a lot to his football IQ, if you will. And then I want to go back to something that you said as well, which for me, kind of looking at this team, it's actually the Steelers and Falcons are very similar in that they have both found their run game life, right? So they've both gotten their lives back. Falcons, of course, with Cordero Patterson and company, Steelers with Najee Harris, but low key, also, when you've got a Benny Snell who's actually come through, and I know right now he's kind of questionable in terms of whether or not he's a go on Sunday, but I look at them and I'm like, wow, you've actually got running backs like a stable that the Steelers can actually lean into that I think, and I want to hear your opinion on it, but I think that potentially if any of them can go, even if they're less than 1%, 100%, I still think that makes Pittsburgh not so one-dimensional.
No, I agree with that assessment. And the guy to remember this equation is Jaylen Warren, the undrafted free agent. This is the guy who's the cousin of Willie Parker. He came into the Steelers. I talked to Steelers running back coach Eddie Faulkner during training camp, and he was like, Chris, this was the steal. We thought he was the 6th best running back of this draft class. We knew we couldn't draft one because we had other concerns. But when he was sitting there as an undrafted free agent, we said, come on over. And they've been so happy to have him. He's been a spark. He's averaging 5 yards per carry. He missed the last game with an injury, but he's practiced in full on Wednesday and Thursday. I anticipate on him on Friday to practice in full again. If Najee Harris can't go, Jaylen Warren's going to take the tough snaps. And if Benny Snell can't go, Anthony McFarland will be their number 2. They're excited about the speed that he brings. But, I totally expect if the Steelers come out, the offensive line has steadily improved this year. They're still not one of the better groups in the NFL or anything like that, but they're blocking more consistently against the run. They're learning how to combo block. They're learning how to double team and chip to the second level, and that has helped them so much. It's Najee Harris. We've seen his play improve, but also Jaylen Warren. That's why you saw Benny Snell with his best game ever for the Steelers last week. So I think, whoever's in that backfield, as long as they got 2 guys that can kind of rotate and keep each other fresh, I think they'll be in a good place to run the ball.
Yeah, and that's the thing that we've seen here locally with the Falcons, where now that you have Cordero Patterson back, of course, he was out a couple weeks on IR, and you've got Tyler Algier really, really kind of finding his way. It's starting to become like this committee, even like they'll throw in an Avery Williams every now and again, and that really gives the Falcons some depth. And the Falcons rely a whole heck of a lot, probably even more than the Steelers, to be honest, on their run game. But and they've done well. They did well even against the Commanders last week. They've done well against run defenses that are stout. But this Steelers rush defense, 6th best in the NFL. What do you think the Steelers' game plan is to possibly stop Cordero Patterson, to stop CP and company?
I think the game plan is normal. One thing that I want to encourage to talk about is that the Steelers, they're used to mobile quarterbacks. They've built their defense to stop Lamar Jackson. So when Marcus Mariota's coming to town, when they're coming to town to face Marcus Mariota, they know the stakes as far as how important gap integrity is. But you've seen this group, what's driven this run defense to be better. Last year, they were the worst run defense in the NFL. That's the first time since like 1945 the Steelers allowed that to happen. They vowed that wouldn't be the case, and they followed through. One thing you've seen, Larry Ogunjobi, Cam Hayward up the middle, they have plugged holes so much better. They've kept their off-ball guys clean. Miles Jack, Devin Bush, both of them have been much better against the run this year. They've been flying all over, and I think that's going to be the key to stopping this offense. You look at Algier, you look at Patterson, you look at Mariota. These guys are quick. These guys are good in space. You have to have guys who can win in space, and that's why they made sure to have these guys in the lineup. Also, I would not be surprised if Arthur Maulet, their slot corner, who usually is playing slot simply to blitz or stop the run, and or Terrell Edmonds, the strong safety, he's been bumping down in the box a lot too. I expect those two guys as well to be guys kept clean, to be to attack / go after these guys and limit this run game. The Steelers want Marcus Mariota to have to test them with his arm.
Yeah, and you make a great point as well. That's one of the things that when a team has been successful against the Falcons, it's typically because you're going to get guys from the secondary, from the linebacker core. It's really just going to be by committee saying, hey, you can get to the first level, we'll let you do that, but you will not get to the second level. Because when the Falcons do get to the second level with bruising backs like CP, it's a problem. So when they've seen challenges, it's been exactly because of the scheming that you just mentioned. So it'll be interesting to kind of see what that chess match is going to be between Arthur Smith and Mike Tomlin as far as Steelers rush defense versus the Falcons run offense. Now, the other thing that I was interested in is this, and I'll tell you why this question is so intriguing, but you might already know. The Falcons have some secondary challenges because they've had a lot of guys go down, including Casey Hayward, and that was going to be kind of the 1-2 punch this year, along with AJ Terrell. But they have definitely seen some positives from the safeties, particularly from Richie Grant. He's done a solid job this year. But my question to you is this: George Pickens, Diontae Johnson, who is the one that the Falcons really need to be afraid of?
Right now, it's George Pickens, and it's not because Diontae Johnson's talent isn't there, but George Pickens has established a really good connection with Kenny Pickett. He's also been the Steelers' deep ball guy. His average depth of target is 15.2 yards, so it's like he's getting the ball deep downfield. He still has to work on his consistency, but we've seen his big play catch ability. He's really good, and he's really good even if you're plastering yourself all over him. He loves those back shoulder catches. George Pickens is aggressive. He's gonna play aggressive. AJ Terrell, if I'm anybody, I'm taking him up. But I will say, don't sleep on Diontae Johnson. The biggest thing is that Diontae Johnson, he doesn't have a touchdown on this year. He hasn't been consistent, but his ability to get separation is still top notch. The Steelers want Kenny Pickett to get him the ball. So do look for that to happen at some point. They're going to get there. The question will be, can you contain Diontae Johnson and keep him from getting so open that he gets a lot of space to move? Because when he works in space, that's when he's comfortable. But George Pickens is the top option there. I will say, though, Tenitra, do not sleep on Pat Freiermuth. The Steelers love their tight end power, and he's been catching the ball down the middle, especially since Chase Claypool left. He's become more and more of that presence for Kenny Pickett. I think that this is a game where Kenny Pickett, he's been slowly progressing. This is an opportunity for us to see just how far he's come and how well he's seeing the field to get it to all three of those guys.
And that's such a great point that you make, because the other person that I didn't mention was Jalen Hawkins. He is the resident ball hawk for this team, and he's going to be that one who's looking to say, okay, well, if we can get pressure up front on Kenny Pickett and we can get him to toss that ball early, like, he has an amazing, amazing ability to really see the ball. And like you said, it doesn't always show up in the stat line for what Jalen Hawkins does, but there's so much that he does for this team. He's just really a critical piece, not just to the secondary, but really that guy who comes up and is able to assist in making sure that a back isn't going to get to that second level, because he does pride himself in tackling, and he prides himself in the ability to kind of help stop the run as well. But yeah, there's this meme online. I'm sure you've seen it, where you've got like the Spider-Man here and the Spider-Man there, and it's like they look the same. I tell you, Chris, this team is like the same, because you're talking about Freiermuth, and I'm thinking about the fact that, yeah, Kyle Pitts is down for the Falcons, but they've got guys. Like, they have guys who are at the tight end position who are more than willing to step up, whether they're asked to be blocking tight ends or whether they're asked to be pass catchers. And Arthur Smith loves the heck out of a 12-man personnel. Like, he loves 12 personnel. So it'll be kind of interesting to see what happens. One more question that I'm going to ask before I let you go. You kind of mentioned it earlier, and I think everybody's been kind of watching with bated breath, because, of course, TJ Watt returns, and he's a little quieter than normally TJ Watt would be. But you also said that you kind of see him returning to form and really getting back to potentially having a major impact on maybe this game.
It could be that. And here's the thing, is that I just don't know. Like, I have underestimated TJ Watt before. I've made that mistake in my life. I try not to make that mistake anymore. Yes. But one thing that's happened with TJ Watt, he tore his pec. He also had knee surgery. He was going through it this season, but he came back a lot faster than people thought. But in being back, he hasn't had the same sort of, just strength to take on people. If you look back at that Colts game, I always studied the All-22 and talk about it on Locked On Steelers. But there were times where Mo Alley Cox was pushing him back. And I'm like, a tight end run blocking TJ Watt? Something's wrong. And I do think that he's not able to get the same sort of punch and rip moves that have become a staple to his brand of play. And I think that that's something that's there. But he's still dangerous. You saw in that Bengals game, his first game back, he had that crazy interception at the line of scrimmage. He's still going to be an impact player. I just think the Steelers, there were several times last year where he came back from an injury. It took him like 1 week, and then he was back to his thing. It's been 2 weeks now since his injury, or since he's come back from injury. But I do think this is a week where he's going to get an opportunity to shine a bit and get a sense of that. The question will be, though, can the Steelers stuff the run and give him opportunities to get after the quarterback and make it so that Marcus Mariota does not run a quick passing offense? Because if he is, that's going to limit what him and Alex Highsmith do, who stepped up in TJ Watt's absence. He has 10 sacks on the season. But yeah, I think TJ Watt's getting there. I think that he's not going to be back to 100% this season. He's going to need next season to do it. But still, TJ Watt at 80% is a very dangerous defender.
I was just going to co-sign and say most teams would take TJ Watt at 70%, to be honest with you, Chris, because when they look at the rest of their defense, they're going, we'll just take that guy. So yeah, it's going to be interesting down in the Benz on Sunday. I'm excited. This is actually my first time seeing the Steelers here in Atlanta, so it's going to be very interesting, but I'll try to be the very objective press person that I can be. So anyway, we appreciate your time. Again, you guys check out Chris Carter on Locked On Steelers, because hey, he's got all the info and insight that you could want if you are a part of Steeler Nation. And if you want more insight on not just what's going on with the Steelers, but also if you want to know what's going on with Pittsburgh sports in general, just in case there are any exciting things going on, whether it is the Pirates or Penguins or any other team, you know where you can go? You can go to Locked On Sports today, because if there is a big story, they're going to have it. If there's a reaction to it, they're going to have it. And most importantly, here we do kind of like a For the Culture segment where we just talk about anything we want to. They do the same. They call it Take of the Day. So don't forget, after you check on Locked On Steelers to see what Chris Carter's got on deck, and you check on ATL Day One, your next stop needs to be Locked On Sports today. So thanks again, Chris, for stopping by. And low-key, go Steelers Nation, but low-key, Falcons go get it as well. It's going to be an interesting game on Sunday. Take care, Chris.
Thank you very much.